Anyway, on to our first topic of the day, which no means next. Now, this topic came to us from a young guy who emailed us. He recently got the Dear John letter from his girlfriend of 6 months with no warning. But his positive attitude really surprised me. I would think that he'd probably be angry that there was no warning. The first thing he said was, well, what do you do? He goes, no means next. And I looked at him and I thought, that's a great line.
It is a great line.
What he's saying is, I'm not going to sit here
wallow in my sorrows and let the world pass me by
without making every relationship meaningless. Okay. Because when it ends, you don't want to sit there and go, oh, well, whatever, the wave of the hand and dismissive and all that sort of stuff. Some of them really do warrant, just a small acknowledgement of hurt, resentment, rejection, or where you go into the hibernation mode.
Yeah, because everybody needs to heal.
Yeah,
we all need to heal. That is something that absolutely has to be done. But don't waste a lot of time on that healing process.
Especially if it's under 6 months, maybe 2 days max. In other words, little time wasted pining over someone who is disrespectful, because most of the hurt that occurs from a breakup is due to our own egos, not our actual love for that person that left us, especially if it was, as we just said, a short-lived relationship. Because it's not even a relationship at that point. It's a...
Yeah, you're probably still euphoric. I mean, a lot of people spend the first, like you say, a couple of months, and they are just ecstatic about the relationship, that somebody loves them the way that they love them, or that they feel that way. It's very enlightening. It's very powerful. It's very uplifting. And then once you get past that stage and you learn
it's all about the sex.
It's all about the sex to begin with, right? But once you get past that stage, that's when the relationship part starts in, and that's a whole different phase in the whole broad scope of things.
If you're in a long-term relationship, as Sandra's saying, or you get to that point, no means next is not really a good line, because basically you're going to be sitting there thinking about everything that's transpired over that time frame with that person, right? So if you're just in a short-lived situation with somebody and they just dump your cute little ass, why harbor sadness or anger with someone who barely had the decency to text you goodbye?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. If it's coming to you in that format, then it's not worth crying over.
Be thankful the bastards
it's
are
not
gone
worth
in my
crying
books.
over.
Right?
Yes, I agree.
See ya.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know what real asshole you were.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking both sexes
Thank you
here.
for not letting me waste any more time on you.
Because this fellow was telling me the girl did it to him. So I'm on his side here, that you don't just text somebody. You don't just phone them after they've been waiting for you to come back from somewhere. So this is one of the times and the great reasons to learn how to say next.
Yes.
When someone callously dumps you. It's different again. We're not talking about 3, 4, 5, 2-year or whatever relationship. We're talking about when you first meet somebody that's come into your life and you're trying to decide, is there a future with this person? Well, if they decide your future for you by dumping you, and really, as nowadays with the younger kids, it's a lot of text messages and stuff like that.
Yes.
Or a phone call. Feeling like the victim's only going to prolong your pain and make you angry. And you can't make someone love you.
No, you cannot make people love you. You can make people like you, but you can't make people love you.
And I think that's probably the hardest thing for people to grasp, which is why they harbor this.
Well, because they know the good qualities in themselves, and they're like, well, why don't you love me? What's wrong with me?
If they knew the good qualities in themselves, so they may not have the ego that went with it. Because if
Yeah.
Because if your ego can say to yourself, well, wait a minute. I did all this in this relationship and they don't want me. Well, that's their loss, because I know that I was a good person.
Yeah.
If you can get there and say that, that's cool. If you're getting to the point where their loss, too bad for them, and you have a bit of an ego about it on the other side of the fence, well, that's not good either. So
no.
But
happy medium in there somewhere.
Yeah, if you can get to the point that when they do dump you, you're going to it's never easy for anybody to be dumped. Never. Even if you don't even really like them and you're saying, well, I should probably say goodbye to them, and they do it to you first, it still bugs you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And
they got the upper hand.
Barbara Walters, in her book, her Audition, it's called, her new book she just wrote. I'm in this chapter right now where she's talking about that this one guy basically kind of dumped her, and she went, well, I was going to dump him. And she ended up marrying the guy.
Oh,
And then,
really?
yeah, very unhappily married. She knew when she was walking down the aisle. And this is Barbara Walters.
Right.
So,
The person that you trust to make the best decisions
Yeah.
possible in a lifetime. Yeah.
but here she is
Yeah.
writing a book about it at her age now, which
But
is
that
70
just
something.
goes to show you a lot of things about people.
It's
Is that
ego.
it's a lot of times it's easier to make a decision on behalf of somebody else than it is for yourself.
Good
Learn
point
to-
what she's bringing up. So what
Yeah.
we need to do, okay, we're kind of getting a little sidetracked, but it's still a good point, that if you're good at giving everybody else advice or helping people with situations and your own life, whether it be interior decorating, whether it be your bank account, whether it be a relationship,
Right.
you need to move on to next.
Right.
Okay. And what happens here is if you are great at something, but it's not working in your own home, you got to start bringing that over to your own home, because if it works with everybody else,
It should work
why
for
aren't
you
you
too.
implementing that into your own home?
Right.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was if you have a passion for something and it's feasible and there's no slam doors in your face, there's just obstacles. That's the difference. You go next. But you go next, okay, that path isn't working, but I still kind of like where I'm going.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you're
go down
talking
this
about
other
forks
one.
in the road and
Yeah.
being able to see that there are other options and that next may not be. Next
Next
is
is
maybe,
still there.
It's still there, but
Yeah.
it's kind of the cut and dried
Yeah.
version of it. But there is always options, and you need to explore that and be
Right.
open minded about it.
Yeah. So getting back to the relationships, because I wanted to explore and all that. That came a little early, but that's cool. We all think that we're never going to have that perfect relationship. How many times have you heard a friend say that's going through a breakup, how am I going to find another one? Like, who's going to love me like that? If you want someone to love you like that and they just dumped your ass, well, why do you want that?
Right.
Why don't you want something better?
Yeah.
And
I would
why
say
can't-
spend more time analyzing what was wrong with that relationship and learn from it and try
Yeah.
and bring those
Or
those
say,
positives into the next.
It wasn't good. It was good for the moment. All of a sudden, maybe our personalities didn't click after 6 months when we let our guards down and we became who we really are.
Right.
Which is par for the course at 6 months, which is why you have so many stories online and everywhere else you go before 6 months.
Right.
Because people don't let their guard down, or they don't really let their guard down till 6 months. So if the perfect relationship you think is perfect has just ended and you're thinking, I'm never going to be with anybody else. It was so beautiful. It was so great. If it was so perfect, why did it end? As I say, no means next in relationships and other parts of your life. And you have to learn when to change paths. And it's not a bad thing.
No, it's
If
not
life-
actually. It's a very positive thing, and you have to look at it that
hugely
way.
positive.
Yeah.
And the word next should have excitement written all over it. Okay.
A couple of
Because it should-
exclamation points after it.
Yeah, it should be embraced into your everyday life with optimism and not, that dismissive connotation like, oh, next, you're just not good enough for me.
Right.
It's not about that. It's about next because I need a change. Analyze what happened and work with it because the next path is only going to get better.
Right. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks for listening to Beaver Talk.
I'm a beaver in